Every day is a new beginning. Shine your light. It's a day and the world is waiting. Move along to the song, singing in your soul. Feel the beat, clap your hands, let's take control. All you need, all you want, are you ready to find your way? 'Cause every day is a new day.
Hey folks, welcome to Wisconsin Family. I'm Justin Riley.
And I'm Jessa Jeremiah, and I think we're excited about today's show.
I know I'm excited for today's show.
Yeah, we've got a good one for you, so make sure you stick around. We're filming here, if you can't tell by our little beer spread here. We're at Capitol Brewery over in Middleton, and we sure do enjoy coming here. We've got folks brewing behind us, and we're going to chat with them a little bit later about some of these items you see in front of us.
There's always something interesting going on here. Last time when we were here, they had their big distributor meeting, and there's always something exciting to talk about here at Capitol Brewery.
There sure is, and I actually learned a lot when we were here last about sort of how the distribution works, and all the you don't realize there's a lot of checks and balances and processes that go into the behind the scenes work and how the beer gets distributed to different regions.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot into it, so it's not just what they're doing behind us. There's a lot of back work.
There is a lot of back work to it. We're also going to be joined by Denise Cole and James Flister from Revamped Vintage and Best of Janesville.
Yes.
Denise is going to do a really cool demonstration. It's like magic.
Yes, it is like magic for those of us who aren't good at this stuff.
Right.
So if you're a do-it-yourselfer or you'd like to be one, make sure you stick around for that segment because it's going to be super cool. I'm excited. After the break, we're talking to Emily Ruzicka, one of my favorite names to say, and also one of my favorite gals from Dog Days Grooming and Care. We have a lot to cover with Emily. We're going to dive into holiday gifts for dogs, having dogs as gifts. I mean, we're going to cover the gamut. So
gifts for dogs and dogs as
and
gifts.
dogs as gifts. Yes, some sort of different topics going into the holidays, but that's all going to be next on Wisconsin Family. So stick around.
Welcome back to Wisconsin Family. Here we are on location in the beer stube at Capitol Brewery here in Middleton.
What a great spot to be. Maybe later we'll have a drink.
Yeah, maybe now we'll have a drink. Who
there
knows?
you go. It's never
Lots
too
of hustle
early.
and bustle going on in the background here. They're brewing beer. They start early in the morning, and we're really excited to talk to those folks later. But first, if you're looking for good gift ideas for your dog for the holidays, look no further than Emily Ruzicka from Dog Days Grooming and Care. Emily, welcome back.
Thank you. She's going to give us tips. She is not the gift.
She's not the gift, right?
Right.
She doesn't give the gift. She gives us ideas.
Yes.
So, what are some good dog gifts for Christmas? That you can get things that you can give your dog for Christmas.
Well, oftentimes you'll see many stores have lots and lots of ideas. They will put fun little stockings together filled with different rawhides, different treats, different plastic toys, all kinds of things. Those are always good to buy, but just be aware, kind of the reason I wanted to touch on this was you can get really excited to want to treat your dog over the holidays, and you can over-treat your dog over the holidays, and then you will have a dog with a bellyache, and that won't be good for when you have guests over. So, so just choose the same kind of toys, treats, things that you always do give your dog. Don't go overboard. That was kind of the idea behind the question. And also, if you want to buy treats from Dog Days, we have homemade treats made with very one ingredients. So please, one of our staff does it, and she's great. So just basically the idea was don't give them anything too out of the ordinary, but maybe just a little bit more of what they already have.
And that's actually an interesting point because just like people food, human food, there's a lot of processed things sometimes in dog food. So it's kind of nice to have the homemade items if you can swing it.
Yes.
So there's a couple of other points we're going to touch on today that I think are really important topics. One of those is, as we come into the holidays, it is kind of a popular thing you see in the movies where the dog comes out of the box and it's got the bow and it's cute, and you only see day one in the movies, though. So tell us a little bit about this. In your opinion, is this something people really do in real life, and is it a good idea?
I don't think people really do this. I thought it would be funny to think about whether or not that actually happens. I've never heard of anyone actually doing this. If you're considering doing this, it is not a good idea, as first and foremost, I don't think any puppy wants to be in a box under a tree overnight. Secondly, you do want to prepare your children and family for a puppy. You don't want to have it be a surprise gift. I thought this would be a really fun Christmas gift. This is something you want to talk about, plan on, find the right breed, make sure your home, your yard, your family is ready for that commitment, because it is a 10 to 15, 18, 20-year commitment sometimes. So yeah, it's just, it shouldn't be a, ooh, fun Christmas gift, that's all.
and dogs are really members of the family, and so you wouldn't go and surprise adopt a baby. You know, talking.
Exactly.
So
That's a great analogy.
I'm full of them.
Oh, that's our next topic, actually, is babies with bows under the tree. Nice segue. No,
Yeah.
but no, that's a good thing to think about. And like I said, in the movies, you see day one and everyone's happy, but fast forward several years, there's work and there's thought process, and so we want to make sure that those puppies are finding the right homes, and it's not just a fun day.
Yes, fun day.
Something you shared with us just before we started was we're talking a little bit about licensing for your dogs, getting the proper license and tags and so forth. There's different licenses for city permits versus park permits. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Sure. Most people are aware of city licenses or permits for dogs. If you have a dog, you're required to get a City of Madison, in this case, license. It has their own number. It also proves with the license. To get the license, you have to have rabies verification to show that your dog is rabies shots. So then you'll have another little tag from your vet and a license tag. So then they've got their little bling on their collar. One more thing you have to have if you're going to use a dog park. This is why I want to talk about this from dog days, because we utilize the dog park every day with our dog daycare, is that there is also a county park permit. If you're using many dog parks are county parks. It's another little jingle for their collar. It's like around $30 for the whole year, and you need to use that to be able to go to the park. So they are separate, extra expense, but it's worth it.
Okay, good to know. Really good tips. So on to the next topic. Like I said, we're covering a lot today.
Yeah.
But next one is, I want to talk to you a little bit about, in the summer, summertime is when people worry about like pests and sicknesses and things like that, because you're outside and you're doing all these things. Is there this same concern in the winter, and what are they?
Yes, so there's not the pest issue as much as you would think, but there is. Doggies get colds just like we do. They're a little bit different. There's some that are infections. There's some that are viruses. Viruses, you just kind of work it out of your system. Infections, often you can get treatment for. Kennel cough or Bordetella, basically synonymous. That's your dog was going to have a barking cough. Usually they can just kind of stay home and rest.
I'm going to let that one roll.
And that
I can't help it.
And then the barking cough.
Right,
I know. I
know.
thought of that. But usually with rest and keeping them a little bit lower key will help with that. They can also get treated by a vet. But if your dog does have the barking cough, please take them to the vet to make sure they don't have that virus or infection.
Good to know. You don't think about your dog getting a common cold.
Yeah.
It can happen.
Reminds me of that episode of Seinfeld where Kramer got the barking cough.
Yeah.
It really
Everything
does sound like
somehow
that.
relates to
Relates to
Seinfeld,
Seinfeld,
doesn't it? I
absolutely.
mean,
So-
everyone knows
Good
that.
show.
Yeah.
Lasts forever.
Some of the things that are maybe not viral related, but that we get in the wintertime is cabin fever. We get stuck indoors, it's cold and that sort of thing.
Gray.
Yeah, exactly. We need to take those vitamin D supplements and so
Yes.
forth. Does this occur for dogs? I mean, do they get cabin fever?
They do. I mean, I don't know that it's as much of an emotional response, although slightly, yes, I think so, but maybe not as big as ours. But yes, they need to get outside. If you're feeling antsy, your dog is definitely feeling antsy. They like the snow, they like the cold, like I touched on in the past segments. If they're little ones with short hair, put a jacket on them, but get them out at least get some fresh air around the block, or get them out for a big run if you can tolerate the weather. They do get antsy, and they will let you know.
Yeah, good tip. Emily, we did it. We got through everything.
Woo!
I'm proud. That was a lot of topics. We
Yeah.
covered it.
Well, Emily Ruzicka from Dog Days Grooming and Care, thank you so much for joining us. And don't
for
go
having
away,
me.
there's more Wisconsin Family coming up right after this. Stick around.
'Cause every day is a new day.
Hey folks, welcome back to Wisconsin Family. As you can see, we are here in the beer stube. Justin and I are enjoying ourselves today, and
We are.
we're going to chat with the folks from Capitol Brewery a little bit later. They're busy brewing behind us. You may recognize these folks. We have Denise Cole joining us from Revamp Vintage and James Flister from Best of Janesville. We're going to kind of explain that relationship and how that works in just a moment. How are you guys doing, first of all?
Very good. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, we're always glad to have you. Denise is going to do a little bit of a demo for us, so I want to make sure we kind of jump right in so we have time. Now, this is a cabinet that you brought with to show us sort of a dark antiquing process, right?
Right. Instead of bringing the whole piece in, I just brought the cabinet because I want to show how it'll catch the details once you dry brush, what I call, kind of on my Facebook page, I call it dry antiquing.
Okay.
And you can do this a couple of ways. You can get the dark wax. To me, that it doesn't work very well. I don't like working with it. This is a less expensive way of doing it.
Okay. Well, we like that.
Yeah.
I wear gloves.
We're always up
because
for a
the
deal.
The stain will stick to
Okay.
your hands.
Okay.
And again, I use these little chippy brushes because they're throwaway. Why mess with
Oh,
trying to clean it up?
I
Sure,
love
yeah.
So
that.
that's
Good
what I
idea.
do. So I use the Minwax best
That's a good product.
stain out there.
Okay.
I really
Yeah.
like this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I have a little rag that I use, and then I just dip it in to the stain, and you try to get most of it off.
Okay.
Because it's called a dry brushing. So
Okay.
then you want to dab it on
Oh,
your
all right.
cloth to get even more of it off. Then what you do is you just do long, very light lines.
Oh, all right.
Oh,
So then what it'll do,
so you're not trying to cover it. You're
No.
trying to just give
'cause
it
this
some
is,
character.
it's not a wax and it's not a glaze, so you don't wipe it off afterwards.
Okay.
But what it does is it will pick up.
I love this. This is really neat.
So this is more about a texture type of thing that you're adding to it. Okay.
And what it does is it actually makes it
that's so
look old, or
cool.
like the wood is showing
Yeah.
through. Like it's like you've actually distressed it with a sander, but
Right.
yet you haven't. So yeah,
It's country chic. I love it.
yeah, and you can
I don't
even
know if
do it
that's
on
what
the
it is, but I
hardware.
decided.
You can even do it on the hardware, and you can go darker in
So
some
you can
spots.
decide.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you can decide, what you want.
Wow.
This hutch, she's a very good customer of mine, so she lets me do whatever I want.
There you go.
Light, dark, she lets me use it. So this
That's
is what
so neat.
That is very cool.
it would look
Beautiful.
like finished.
Okay.
And so you get that old.
The
Wow.
old look.
Yeah.
Wow, and you made that look so easy.
Yeah.
It
But-
really is easy.
okay.
You just got to practice. Just don't have too much on the brush. Start very dry.
Sure.
That's why it's called the dry brush.
You actually you do classes.
Classes.
You do lots of classes, but this is one of the
class will-
classes
yeah,
you do.
This class will start in January.
Okay.
I have a new area where we're going to be doing classes. It's much bigger, lighting, and people will come in, and so this is one of the classes that I will offer.
So cool. So you can learn
What's
exactly
really
how to
cool
do
about
this.
this to me is that this isn't a huge mess. Like when you brought this
No.
in, I thought, oh my gosh, she doesn't
I
have
know.
anything to clean up the mess with.
Right.
But it's not.
Well,
It's
when
not a
I'm
mess.
at the shop, I'm usually flicking it every. I was being careful here.
Right.
So.
Okay. So
Only if
we're
people
allowed
walk
to
by
make
do
a
it.
mess.
Right, you're
All
allowed
right,
to make
cool.
a mess. Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about Best of Janesville and Revamp Vintage and sort of how this works. James has Best of Janesville down in Janesville, of course.
Yes.
And talk to us about, now there's lots of different vendors inside of Best of Janesville, and Denise with Revamp Vintage is one of those. So how do you kind of highlight all these different
Sure.
vendors?
So it's kind of been our kind of business model from the very beginning to highlight the people behind the product. So we encourage the vendors to have, like a little bio, hanging in their booth and stuff like that. And we go around and we highlight their products, but we also talk about them on social media and our Facebook page and stuff. So it's really, to us, it's more about the people just as much as the product.
Yeah, well, I like that, the backstory behind all of these things that they're doing, and everybody is local and they're real people and they've got all these
Definitely.
specialties, and so it's really neat to learn that
It is,
and
it is.
what the different things that they're doing.
And this is obviously a very unique place, and I've been there a couple times, and it's just a really, really cool place. A lot of cool stuff in there. It's staged very well. What are some other things that set Best of Janesville apart from other antique malls?
Sure. So what we do is we make it very, very easy to become a vendor. So we don't require you to sign a contract. We don't require you to work the sales floor.
Oh, okay.
So we make it very easy to become a vendor. We have a very nice price, so $1 a square foot for somebody to become a vendor. So it's a nice way for somebody who has antiques or collectibles or mantiques or jewelry
Mantiques.
or whatever they're
Mantiques.
into.
We go
I love it.
antiquing this
Yeah.
weekend.
We've got a spot for you. As much space or as little space as you need, we've got a spot for you.
That's so great. And as you can see, I guess the one requirement is you have to be talented, right? Because
That helps. That helps. Yes,
As
but
you can
everybody
see,
has a talent.
Yes,
so.
Denise is very talented in what she does.
Definitely.
And I love Denise's space. I've been back, got to see back where your workspace,
Yeah.
and it is like, oh my gosh, there's wood everywhere, and there's paints, but I mean,
know.
it's so
It's a
fun
mess.
and crafty. No, but it's supposed to be a
You're
mess.
doing
that's
things.
that's
Yes,
exactly how it should
constantly.
be. I love it. You can see the magic happening, so it's great. So this is great. This is Denise Cole with Revamp Vintage, and you do, like you said, you can actually have something ordered and you'll make it
Yes.
custom for them,
Yes.
which is great.
Yes.
You can also do
Anything.
classes.
We build
So
furniture. We do classes. There's lots.
Lots and lots. So, and this class is in January. What is it called? You said the dry,
dry
brushing
brush
class. Okay, in
yes.
January. And James Flister with Best of Janesville. They're all under one roof. Make sure you check them out. Stick around for more Wisconsin Family. We're talking to Dog Days Grooming after the break.
'Cause every day is a new day.
And welcome back to Wisconsin Family. The moment is here. We are here at the beer stew for Capital Brewery, and we're going to be talking now with Ashley Kennart from Capital Brewery. Welcome.
Hi, how are you guys doing today?
We're great. We have been greatly enjoying our time here, so thanks for being such a gracious hostess. We love it here.
Yeah, we appreciate you having us here.
Absolutely.
So you guys, as I walk through the halls when I come in here, there's just the walls are just plastered with all kinds of awards. Can you give us just a brief synopsis, if you can, of all the awards that Capital Brewery has won?
Well, we are going into almost 30 years of brewing, and I don't have an exact count because these are
You
things
lose
that-
count?
They're,
Yeah.
yeah, they're just kind of rolling in,
Yeah, the awards.
But we're over upwards of 230. I'm going to say even getting close to 250 right now, and so yeah, we're running out of space on the walls, and
Yeah.
I think we're going to start taking stock out in the little frames we like to put them in.
There
so.
you
Right,
go.
yeah.
You're gonna have to expand just to hang your awards. That's,
Yep.
that's a good
Exactly.
problem
Build a
to have.
museum.
Yeah,
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on all that success. We have greatly enjoyed chatting with you folks over the last couple of months and just really learning about the process and everything that goes on behind the scenes, not only behind us where you see people are brewing,
Right.
but in terms of, keeping that brand cohesive throughout all the distribution areas. It's
Yep.
really been eye-opening, I think, for Justin and I, and hopefully
Yes.
for folks at home. But right now I want to focus on, it's getting colder. We've got the holidays upon us. So talk to us a little bit about some of the seasonal brews you guys are working on, because I think that's one of the topics we all want to know about.
Right. Absolutely.
Absolutely. We definitely we have our seasonal beers that are come out. We've got 4 different ones rotating throughout the year. That's one of our biggest sellers right now. We're doing the Winter Skull.
Yeah.
And this is the first year we actually see that in cans. So something I was really
it?
excited about.
Okay.
The craft beer industry, you're seeing a lot of people turning to cans, and kind of the stigma of only cheap beers in a can has definitely gone away. So I'm very excited to see that. That was the fourth or the last of our seasonals that hadn't been offered in a can yet. Other kind of fun holiday stuff, we have always got some limited and specialty brews that we like to do with some smaller batch. The Schwartz in a box is probably one of our favorite that we do in a 22-ounce bomber. It actually comes in a box itself, so I like to think of it as just a real nice little pickup from the store if you're on your way to a party or something, and like, oh, I should have brought a gift. What do I do? There it is, in a box right there, to from. You can sign your name on it, and that one's
it's ready to go.
Yep, it's a holiday spice beer. It's an imperial lager that is a black lager that we do some kind of very cinnamon, vanilla, and a little bit of anise in there. So
And the name again, will you say?
Schwartz in a box.
Schwartz in a box.
Schwartz in a
Okay,
box.
and you can get that just at wherever you buy Capital at the
Yep,
same places. It's not
There's
special.
a lot of
Okay.
and look for it in the bomber section in the coolers.
okay.
But yeah, it's going to be it's already wrapped up for you. So
Yeah.
I like to see it, and it's that one's a little bit boozier. So definitely the bigger bottles we like to see is kind of share it with a friend, or especially bringing it to a party.
Or have the next day off. Either one.
Yeah.
No, I'm just
They all work. But
If you're coming to my holiday party, just gift wrap this one for me. That'd be perfect. You can do that too, right? Just stick a bow on a.
Yep,
on a
perfect.
Yeah.
It's already in a little box there.
There
So
you go.
Schwartz in a box, that's one of your holiday brews? Is that okay? Do you have any other holiday brews that are kind of coming through here?
We have been doing some other, just kind of playing around with some fun stuff. Actually, some barrel aging has been, we've done a little bit here and there. We do a rum barrel aged beer. We've done a little bit of whiskey barrel aging. But we're kind of trying to kind of step outside the barrel aging box there.
Sure.
And do some other fun stuff I'm looking at, and especially coming up this, these next few months, over this next year. We've got a whole bunch of stuff that's kind of sitting in the barrels, ready to go, and
Sure.
I'm looking at playing with some wine barrels or some other some local whiskey barrels, stuff like that we want to try to just get a little bit going, because that's a lot of fun to play with. And again, it's a very
Yeah.
small batch. We're only going to have a handful available, so it's a little more time and a little more fun to kind of put together, and therefore we only can make so much of it. So.
Right. Oh, that's very interesting. Ashley, talk to me a little bit about, because you have a big part in what goes into these beers back here. And tell me about what is kind of the inspiration as you're developing new things and starting to get ideas for beers, for seasons ahead and things of that nature. How do you get these ideas? What inspires you?
It's definitely, I like to look at it as everything situational. They say, all right, we're going to have a beer come out at this time, or there's an event, or there's, usually it's kind of a situation that you want to make this beer for, and kind of taking that usually is a good inspiration for me to kind of start from somewhere, and what's a good beer to drink this time of year, what's a good beer to drink at this kind of event or this kind of party, or just, and again, I'm looking at our lineup. What do we already have?
Right.
Why are we making a new beer? Maybe using something new I haven't used before. I've been playing around with some kind of new malts and new hops this year, so got some experimental hops in some of our brews, some kind of fun new malts, and along raw materials line, the kind of obviously Wisconsin's local hop and malt kind of industry is really kind of booming right now. So definitely working with seeing what's available locally and directing it that way, and seeing working with some of our local vendors, and even to the point of working with the people who actually grew these hops or who grew the barley that was malted in Wisconsin, and so that's kind of, you can look at it two ways. You can either start with your end product and say, all right, this is what I want to build up to,
right?
Or this is the grain I want to work with. These are the hops I want to work with. These are the spices or herbs or that kind of thing. So
that's really great.
Yeah, there's so many different areas to pull from. It's almost
Right. There's so many places to start, it seems.
Yeah,
That's very cool.
absolutely.
Right.
It strikes me that up until recently, brewing industry has been very much male dominated, but that's starting to change.
Yep.
Talk to us a little bit about that.
So it's kind of funny. They say way back in the day, women were actually the first one to brew our beers.
Oh, wow.
Men were out hunting and gathering and whatnot. And
We were back doing the important stuff like brewing
yeah,
beer.
somebody's got to take care of that.
That's right.
But somehow, and I kind of almost liken it almost to kind of the cooking industry, and how most chefs are. You see most of them being males also,
Right.
but then you come home at night and kind of the mom's the stereotypical one cooking you
Right,
dinner.
yeah,
So that's where brewing is, I think, kind of similar. Obviously, much longer ago, but
Right.
But we're starting to get our foot back into it. I think the smaller breweries and the smaller size systems make it a little more accessible for. I'm 5'3", so some things I can barely reach on top of a ladder.
Right.
Right.
But some of the smaller brew houses, as well as some of the new technology that helps, hauling these big things that might be twice the size of myself.
Right.
That's been very approachable to some females and whatnot.
Really quick before we go, what's the Pink Boots Society? How does that
Right.
tie into the female?
Yeah, that's a
piece?
huge brewing club. It's a professional brewing club, so you have to be connected with a brewery or some sort of making your living from beer in some way, shape, or form. And a really great way for females to connect, and that we can get together, and we've been doing beer collaborations, stuff like that, and it's been a lot of great connections that you can make across the whole industry.
That's so great. Well, congratulations to you personally on kind of helping forge the way for women in this industry, kind of full circle, right back to where we started. And also congrats to you and Capital Brewery on all the many awards.
Yes,
Pretty
Ashley
exciting.
Kennard from Capital Brewery, thank you so much for joining us and for the information today. It's been a pleasure talking with you.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you for joining us on Wisconsin Family. That's all the time we have for today, so we'll see you next time.
Every day is a new beginning. Shine your light. It's a day